Good evening, everybody. Matt Geary here for the Geek Podcast on this Sunday evening. With me tonight, my co-hosts, we have Peter Ray Elson.
Good evening, everyone.
And Jon Jo Cosgrove.
Hello there, true believers.
No guests tonight, unfortunately, so you're just going to have to listen to us yabber on about our days and general nerdery that's going on. And obviously our new segment with our little pop quiz that's going on. So I hope you two have got something to you've got a character for us to guess later.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes,
I too have a character as well for you to guess and stuff. So not the Expanse, Pete, because that's the last two you've done have been from the Expanse.
What is wrong with the Expanse?
There is nothing wrong with the Expanse. I love the
Thank
Expanse, but it's just sort of, one, I'm really bad with the names for the people. I know their faces.
That's not my problem.
But two, it's we've had two of them already.
Yes, free as a card.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So, gentlemen, it is Sunday. The sun is out, just about. What's everybody up to? What's going on?
Oh, I've just been reading a load of Terry Moore comics, and which complete silence from the both of you, which means you've not read them. But yeah,
No.
really, really good.
So
Yeah, really, really.
tell us about them. Terry Moore.
Terry Moore. He writes. I hesitate the word say feminist, but it's not. But he does write his female characters incredibly well. Very balanced. Very realistic. It's not kind of hypersexualized and not fridged or anything. They are just girls being girls. And yeah, the writing and the representation is just fantastic. And I happily lent my daughter Ada the first volume in Echo, which is all about basically what happens if everyday woman gets superpowers, the superpowered rocket suit. And yes, I had no problem giving it because it was just a beautiful representation of women. And yeah, I thought, yep. He's gonna love that. Yeah, and so that was really good. And also I've just seen Doctor Strange on Tuesday, and that was just great.
Okay, so we'll talk about it. I've not seen it. I'm seeing it on Tuesday. I'm very much looking forward to it. Though TikTok did ruin a part of it for me. I was scrolling and I was like, "What's this?" And somebody had obviously got a thing.
That's the problem. Social media is just hell for any movie.
There's a bit of it, and I was just like, is this? And it's my own fault for not kind of quickly scrolling past, but it did ruin a little bit of it for me, but hopefully not enough. So you've both seen it.
Yep.
We're not going to do any spoilers because I've not seen it, so don't worry if you haven't seen it and stuff. We're not going to spoil it for you. What is your general vibe about it? So we'll start with Pete. You saw it first.
I saw it first. Yeah. I'm a massive fan of the MCU. I think I love what they've done. I mean, they have now 28 films, a 28 film story ongoing. That is nothing to be, ignored. It was a great film. I had a lot of fun. There were a few kind of moments where I was just grinning like a maniac, and because it was just some beautiful. There's lots of shout out. It felt very embedded within the wider cinematic universe. It felt like it was a continuation of everything that has gone before. I would not say it is flawless by any stretch. I think the narrative peaks and troughs rather than a kind of ratcheting tension. There's quite a few moments with a bit of a lull. I would also say that despite the fact Strange was the title character, Wanda had a much wider and rounder arc throughout the entire film. And I think it's very telling that if you look at some of the posters, it is Wanda at the forefront and not Doctor Strange, because it's more accurately Wanda Maximoff in the Multiverse of Madness. I also feel that Sam Raimi was the perfect choice for this film because it's not a entirely horror film, but there are a lot of horror elements in it. It is very like if you remember back in the 1990s, Sam Raimi released Darkman, which was I wouldn't say similar, but was equally a horror superhero film. Certainly, I'd say and there are moments where he really embraces the lunacy and sheer creativeness of the multiverse, and Sam Raimi's directorial style, which is lots of bizarre camera angles, just enhanced that to no end. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Have fun. If you're a fan of the MCU, you'll find a lot to enjoy, and you will just think they're absolutely brilliant. But as a whole, I think it could have been better. Also, this is something that's been in the back of my mind, is it seems to retcon, at the very least, some of the resolution at the end of WandaVision. This is a film that you need to watch WandaVision and No Way Home to fully appreciate, because it draws on a lot of past.
Is there any way of explaining why it needs to, or because you'll have to, I suppose when we watch it, you'll know.
It's the resolution that is at the end for Wanda at the end of WandaVision seems to kind of be retconned a bit for this film. Would be the best way I can explain it without completely spoiling the plot. It does. I mean, when she kind of comes to and not so much an acceptance, but a resolution for her grief at the end of WandaVision. It's more like, okay, yes, this is who I am now, and but I would not say it's a terrible film for that. I just think, okay, you could have it would have been more nicer if they kind of had a more seamless integration between the two elements. Was my argument, but it's a really, really good film. I would happily see it again. I loved all the little horror nods to it, scattered throughout the film. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Jon Jo?
Joe, quite a few things of what Pete said is quite similar to my experience. Sam Raimi, as much as I really enjoyed Scott Derrickson's work on that first Doctor Strange movie, and that visual style was just brilliant, Sam Raimi just brings in, for lack of better words, a whole new dimension to the MCU. And whereas we've had teasers of without going into too much spoilers, but where we've had teasers of multiverse in Spider-Man, in Loki, especially in like the What If series, this is the first time that we're properly traveling into this newfound world. And my worry going into this film was, and I kind of had to try and convince myself, the reason why you're going into a multiverse is to expand on the story, but at the same time, you need to make sure that you're keeping something there that's going to keep you interested in the world that you've already established over this last 14 years. And it does it really well. And thinking about it, there are so many callbacks that go back to obviously previous MCU films, going back to like previous Spider-Man movies, previous Doctor Strange. There's a few little elements from Infinity War and Endgame. There's obviously WandaVision is mentioned very heavily. A couple of little Loki nods. Do you really need to have this all in your brain going into this movie? No. I went with a friend who I would say she's my apprentice in training. So on my second viewing, because yes, I've already seen this twice. On my second viewing, we went to go and see it, and I said to her at the beginning, yes, this is a little bit of a horror, but it's a superhero movie. It's still a 12A. And she went, no, I'll be fine. I counted at least 6 times that she jumped during that movie. So it's brilliant. But you know what? Some of the, obviously, it's not full-on gruesome horror, but what they portray on the screen is very well executed. There are moments that really are striking. And there's one particular moment with Wanda, which I'm not going to say any more than that, really. There's one particular moment where she gets from one part, it's quite early in the film, where she's trapped in one part and then comes out of the other. Just that moment when you see her emerge, it feels like this could have easily been an offcut from Evil Dead. It was just brilliant to see it on the screen. And yeah, like Pete said, this is very much a Wanda Maximoff film, and I guess it's really hard to try and say what it feels like. But think of the Avengers film, Avengers: Infinity War, but Thanos was your central character. It's kind of like that, even though it's got Doctor Strange on the title, it is Wanda's story pretty much from beginning to end. And it's great for the storytelling. It's great for the execution. And then for me, one of my favorite actors anyway, Benedict Wong, he is just an absolute star.
Yeah, he had a lot more to do in this film. He'd gone from the comedic sidekick to a character that was more fitting for being a Sorcerer Supreme.
Yes, and that's what you got to remember as well. He is the Sorcerer Supreme, because Doctor Strange had disappeared for 5 years. Earth needed another defender, so they have Wong. And do you know what? He gets some of the best lines. He really is a well-rounded character, and from having him in Shang-Chi, in Spider-Man: No Way Home, it's he's even joked about himself, the guy. It's becoming the Wong cinematic universe, which I am all for because he is brilliant. I've met this guy a few times as well, and he's one of the loveliest people you could ever come face to face with.
I saw him being interviewed. I think it was like Jimmy Fallon or something, and it's like he was trying to get, when he was trying to get on, he was trying to get in the film, and he had this sort of kind of thing going, Wong for Wong and stuff, because obviously, Wong in he's called, Wong and Wong in the MCU and stuff, and he had this sort of like thing trying to get people to sort of kind of get him in, and then he apparently sort of was talking to his solicitor, and he said, "Oh, I might need sort of I might need a solicitor." And he's like, "Wong for Wong?" And he went, "Yeah, I think Wong for right or something." Yeah.
And also, if I can make one other point, similar to Spider-Man, Doctor Strange has pretty much a young companion, as he did kind of almost having Spider-Man as a pseudo sidekick. He has America Chavez, Sakito Gomez, who is a fantastic actress, and her moments in this film, there are some real good standout moments, especially halfway into the movie. There's some great emotional heartstrings that are pulled, and I was really impressed. I was expecting a character like America Chavez, who I remember reading the comics years ago, I thought was so well written. And I thought, to introduce a Doctor Strange movie, at first it didn't seem right for me, but then obviously with the whole multiverse aspect and without revealing too much about her power in particular, she is, at times, I guess it could feel like almost like a little plot device to obviously get things moving.
Yeah.
But to me, she is just fantastic, very well cast. And if anything to take away from this going into the future of the MCU, I think this is an actress, even outside of Marvel, this is an actress who I think you've got to look out for going forward, because I think she's got such a great future. But overall, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I really enjoyed. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as Spider-Man: No Way Home, but can't take anything away from Sam Raimi. Still one of my favourite directors. He does horror well. He does superheroes well. And if there is a Doctor Strange 3, I can't think of anyone better than to keep Sam Raimi in the picture. Bruce Campbell as well is Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell has got presence, because if it's Sam Raimi, you have got Bruce Campbell. And I'm not going to say it is. What he does in it. I'm sure Pete's not going to say what it is. But all I'll say is it is a very memorable, very humorous, and just very much worth your time. That's all I'm going to say.
Is there's a mid-credit scene and an end-credit scene?
Yes, yep.
And without obviously giving it away or anything, are they sort of pertinent to things going forward?
The first one is, yes, the mid-credit scene is very much sets the scene for the Doctor Strange's next exploits. The end credit scene is purely comedic purposes, but still well worth watching.
Okay,
it's brilliant.
Okay.
It's like I said, it's well worth the time when you see it, and it is just it's just fantastic humor. And I know obviously there's a lot of people that still are yet to see this movie, but all I'll say is for anyone who's not seen this film yet, and if you've got an expectation of you're going to go and see this, you're going to see every Marvel character that's ever been known to the history of man, you may be a little bit disappointed. I mean, don't get me wrong, still some great surprises in the film.
Yes,
but don't go expecting to see an end game level number of characters. Yeah.
Oh, I kind of know some of the things they're going to be there because it got ruined for me on TikTok. But so stay away from social media if you don't want things ruined. That's like thing is like. I'm not a massive spoiler Nazi, so I'm not one of these people. I know there's people who get really fucked off with you if you even months down the line you're talking about it, or even sometimes years they get annoyed at you and stuff, and it's just like we did. When we did cons, we haven't done it in a while. We might actually do it when we go to when we go to Games Expo, actually, Pete. But we used to do this thing like big Geek Pag's big question, and the Geek Pride's big question was sort of like spoilers. When are they acceptable? And we had sort of very sort of wide sort of kind of spectrum on when a spoiler was acceptable, but we had sort of people who said it was never acceptable and that you should always sort of like and I'm just like, but okay, so where's the line and stuff? And I was just like, so if you've not seen Star Wars, and I turn around and sort of I can't talk about Star Wars just in case somebody knows that sort of Darth Vader, spoiler alert, is Luke's father and stuff. And it's sort of like, where is that line when spoilers are acceptable?
I think what my personal idea is, especially if it's a brand new film out, the first week in particular is for diehards of that particular franchise.
Yeah.
If they have not seen it by then, I know it sounds horrible, but if they've not seen it by then, film companies will do what they can to get audiences into the cinema afterwards. It's the same when Spider-Man No Way Home came out, because they tried their best to avoid having Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in the marketing. About 2 weeks into the movie, they started doing little pictures, little clips from the movie, and then they showed the big scene when it's the three Spider-Men going up against the villains.
Yeah.
And they said, in cinemas now. And that's what kept that movie at number one for like 2 months. So I reckon you're going to get something similar with this. Doctor Strange has opened up, and this is pretty good achievement. It's earned $450 million in its opening weekend. The second highest earning, second biggest opening weekend since the pandemic began. Wow. So that's good. Second only, obviously, to Spider-Man. So come on. That's not a bad achievement. I feel like I'm really shitting on Doctor Strange, but I'm not. It's just how it's working out.
Do you think that are spoilers spoilers are a responsibility of people when a film has just come out, but sort of later on down the line, I don't know, obviously for big films like that, where they're trying to sell it, is it the responsibility of the person who hasn't seen it not to read something and stuff, or be more vigilant, or is it always on the people who have seen it to have the burden of not spoiling it for others?
I think it's now really difficult because if it's not, as I say, if it's not studio, after a few weeks trying to entice more people to watch a film, you're going to get stuff on social media straight away. You're going to have it on Twitter, on your Facebook, on Instagram, TikTok, everything. even like if you're waiting in an auditorium to go and see the movie, you're going to have people coming out. They're going to probably mention something that's been in the cinema. But yeah, the digital age is the worst thing.
And also, to be fair, there's also the element of discussing the film and with your friends, and also looking at the deeper metatextual narratives and
metatextual. My God, what a phrase that is, Pete.
Thank you. And looking at the underlying themes of the film, and you can really do that by discussing the film in full, and that includes spoilers.
Yeah, I'm so very sorry. I don't know what happened there. I just seem to have disappeared.
See, I'm of the view that, you know, when I'm watching, like, I don't like things being ruined for me, but I'm of the view that if I haven't seen a film in the first sort of couple of weeks of it being out, then it's my responsibility to stay away from things if I don't want it ruined for me and stuff, because I know I appreciate like the arguments you always get in these sort of things is I'm busy, and they are legitimate. You know, there's people with families, kids, jobs, and they can't get out to do these things, so I understand that. But it's one of those things where you can't blame others if they want to talk about something. I think it has to be your responsibility at some point in time that things aren't ruined for you. And it's like, and if you sort of read something, as much as it might be annoying, then you know how social media works, you know how modern society works with these things and stuff. I knew flicking through TikTok, I may get a sort of, I appreciate it's just come out, it was annoying, and it was obviously a pirate copy of something that somebody was filming, so that was kind of wrong anyway. But I think you have to have that sort of responsibility on yourself, not to have I think
also we know, like, oh, if this is going to be about X, then fine, I'll just skip past it. It's very easy to if you're in a conversation with someone and someone brings up, oh, I just saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, you can easily say, don't spoil it for me, not seen it yet.
Yeah. And I think if it gets to the point
this is
if you get sort of things where it's...
this is why...
Carry on. No, after you, sir.
Oh, thank you. I was just going to say, that's why, that's why you get things like, spoiler-free reviews, because I think that's a good way of having an approach. You can talk about a certain subject without really giving away its content. And
unless you're Josh, have you ever read any of Josh's reviews? Because he literally word for word everything. That's why I've not read his review for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, because I'm hoping to watch that in the next few days. And no offense, but I know a lot of people that will do, like, in their reviews, they'll put some real heavy spoilers. I remember, what film was it from a few years? Force Awakens. Yeah.
When Force Awakens came out, there was someone from one of the newspapers 2 days before the film came out had put their review in it. And obviously it couldn't have been checked properly, because in the review it said about the death of Han Solo. Sorry, spoiler alert for a film from 2015 if you've not seen it yet. But that was in the body of text. They said, and the death of Harrison Ford's Han Solo will resonate with me. It's like, how can you just drop that into a review for a film that's coming out 2 days later? That is insane.
I think,
and especially if you've just got someone who,
well, there's two things off that, but like one, I think most reviews should be spoiler free to start off with. I think later on, so initially, if you're doing reviews, there should be nothing in there that has any reference to the mechanics of the film itself. Like I do the same every time. If I do a review of a new film, I literally do not talk about anything that happens. It's only afterwards if I've got a lot I want to say about it and I want to talk about it, then I will do a sort of kind of more in-depth piece and I'll go, spoilers, etc. And I can appreciate if it's a really bad film or there's some really divisive moments within it, then you can maybe say at the start, say, look, this is going to be spoiler filled, so please sort of don't read if you don't want to. But one more thing. The Han Solo thing, and we said this before, Geek Pride had a scoop on that before it came out. So Ben Fee, who used to do stuff for us, and he hasn't done anything for us in a very long time, great chap and stuff, but he was at a wedding in Ireland, yeah, and one of the guys who was at this wedding worked on the film and drunkenly mentioned to him in a bar in Ireland that Han Solo died. Basically, like, Ben's like, what the fuck? Really? And he basically messaged us and went, some drunk guy who worked on the film in The Force Awakens has told me that Han Solo dies in this film. I was like, bullshit. He's talking shit. I said, well, he's like, no, I'm pretty sure, because he gives his credentials on what he did and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, holy shit, maybe he does. So he did an article basically saying, take, anybody who doesn't want the new Star Wars ruined for you, then don't read this, and be very aware that this is a rumor and stuff. But, and he wrote this piece about Han Solo dying, and the amount of hate we got for that, even though it was just like, do not read this if you think, but it wasn't even that. It was like literally, and Reddit ripped us to shreds, where it was just like, this would never happen. They would never do this. Bullshit. We're not calling this. Is not so many sort of kind of Star Wars neckbeards who were sort of raging that this would happen and stuff. And who read it, who were annoyed, and I was just like, well, we just got the information. You didn't have to read it, but it's like, this would never happen. This is bullshit. And then when it did happen, our post got locked and I couldn't reply to it and stuff. And I was just like, oh, wait a minute. So we were right. It was true. And now you've locked it, you little shits. And it's just like, that was our big scoop, because it was just like, and everybody didn't believe us. Anyway.
But it's like back in the old days, a lot of websites used to have that, like the grayed out bar, and it used to say, oh, put your mouse over this if you want to reveal it. So the web page was basically saying, look, you're doing this at your own risk. And then people look at it and go, oh, why the fuck did you spoil that? You looked at it. Why did you look at it?
Yeah, that's
your own fault.
That was one of the worst things. One of the guys went, I'm really annoyed at you for this. And I was just like, it says at the very start, do not read this if you don't want to sort of, it says in big, I think it said in big letters, with a big warning, do not read this if you want to. And I was just like, and it's like, you can't get annoyed at us. It's like, if your curiosity got the best of you, it's like, it's like me turning around to you.
It's like the ones.
It's like me turning around to you, right? And I did this sort of social experiment when we first started Geek Pride, which I would never do again because it well backfired on me. But do not, and I'm telling you, do not, ladies and gentlemen, do not type Nod Null into Google. So London backwards, Nod Null, and over with your Red Dwarf reference, do not type Nod Null into Google. I'm saying, do not type Nod Null into Google. And then people obviously did do it, and then got really annoyed at me because I told them not to. He says, well, of course we were going to do it because you told us not to. And I was just, that's shocking. I was like, well, I did say, do not do this.
It's in Bulgaria, isn't it?
Say it again?
It's in Bulgaria, isn't it? No, Bulgaria, rich in animal produce and mineral wealth. Just south of Bosnia.
It might have changed now, but back then, let's just say, the results were slightly shocking, so it's just like, one of those things. And now there's going to be a lot of people, like, got some people watching at this moment in time. They're going, do I type in Nod Null into Google and see what it says, and then get angry with Matt because we've seen something we don't want to see? So if you're listening to this, do not type in Nod Null into Google if you don't want to be shocked by something. Now, I've not done it in ages. I don't know if it might have changed, but back then, it had some interesting Google picture results. So yeah, just be mindful. There you go.
It's like when people used to go on these things. Like you get these quiz that come up saying, find out how long you have left to live. It's like, why the hell would you want to look that kind of thing up? But then people do the test and they go, oh my God, I've only got 2 years left to live.
Yeah.
Like, why did you do that?
Well,
no one's
think about it.
sponsoring you.
You've got 2 years
And it's
left
like,
to live.
how accurate are they anyway?
You've got 2 years left to live. You can do anything you want for the next 2 years and it'll be fine.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? It's just like when it comes into that whole thing, it's like it says I'm going to die in 2 years. Does that mean I could literally do anything and I'll survive? So I could throw myself off this cliff and I'm going to land on a fucking sheep or something and I'm going to survive, or how does that work and stuff? It's just that the whole thing about death and having no agency in the world just doesn't make any sense to me and stuff. It's just like, having no choice in your life.
One thing that I did have watched and is very much related to the MCU is Moon Knight.
Oh, it was so good. Last episode especially was
good.
Really good. By the way, anybody who's not watched Moon Knight, we've all watched it, so spoilers. Spoilers. We're talking about Moon Knight now, so
yeah, I really enjoyed it. However, I did not feel it felt as embedded within the MCU as the other Disney Plus MCU shows, such as The Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Was that a bad thing, though?
Yes, I would say it is. Because it didn't feel as invested. It felt very much an outlier.
But it had its own sort of... It had its own sort of vibe to it, and because it wasn't relying on cameos and connections to the MCU, that it had its own sort of thing, and I felt like it, for me, because I'm not very well versed in Moon Knight anyway, I just thought it had its own sort of kind of thing, and I kind of liked the fact that I knew it was MCU, but it didn't have that sort of kind of in your face sort of like, that episode of Family Guy where it's like, here's my kids, and he's like shoving the pictures of his kids in this guy's face. It's like, this is MCU.
Yeah,
I like that.
But you can embed something with a kind of a shared universe, which is what the MCU effectively is, without ramming it down your throat. WandaVision did that very well. The first 3 episodes was basically Wanda and Vision in a series of different TV shows. But it still felt part of an ongoing story. Whilst Moon Knight, as great as it was, felt like outside of the MCU. Big thing for me was I was watching the finale, and I'm thinking, that's an Avengers level threat. Where are the Avengers?
Yeah. Why was it?
Right,
was it
but how many times could you say that in the MCU?
Pardon?
It wasn't an Avengers level threat.
You had 2 gods fighting over the Pyramid of Giza, and
yeah.
At least
how many people could actually see them 2 gods fighting? Because if you remember, it's mostly only people that have had direct interaction with the gods that could see their presence.
Yeah, I suppose it's not a threat. I suppose not being able to see them doesn't mean they don't have a threat, but yeah, but there's lots of stuff, At least there's lots of Avengers level.
Turn up. Actually, I think it would have been just have Thor turn up.
No,
because it's a Norse god beat up against the.
No, because I think they were trying to push this whole.
Thor's traveling with the Guardians, ain't he?
I think they were trying to sort of kind of steer away from it. Was like you literally have I don't even know if a Muslim director, you have an Egyptian, you have an Egyptian superhero, and you have sort of like, I think they were trying to sort of steer away from this westernized sort of view of the MCU and have something a bit more sort of global, and it's sort of. And I thought that was a good thing. I thought,
absolutely.
Yeah. I don't sort of, having sort of, somebody, coming in, America, fuck yeah, with an American flag and stuff, and sort of like doing that, it doesn't, it's very much, so I don't think you could have white man comes in to see
I wouldn't even say have Thor come and save it, just like that you have the Norse mythology meeting up with the Egyptian mythology.
But why would that be any relevance though to it?
Because they're both gods.
Yeah, there's loads of gods in the MCU and stuff.
Exactly. Obviously, that's why I kind of want to see how this Egyptian mythology can interact with the other.
You're going to get that in God and Thunder, or Love and Thunder, aren't you?
Yeah, but will that kind of meet with the Khonshu and the others?
Khonshu. Oh no, because it's the pantheon, so it's the Greek gods and the Norse.
That's what I want to see, like how these two pantheons interact with each other.
Yeah, but it's like that. If you have something, see, the thing of that is, it's a film about a guy's struggle with his split personality based on trauma that he's got from a child, and it's not about the gods really. The gods are obviously a peripheral in it, and they give them power. But if you brought in a god like Thor, it would become about them and not about Moon Knight and not about I forgot the name of the lady in it. What's her name?
Lena.
Yeah. It's not about them, and I think that sort of is because you want it to be about them. One thing I need to ask, just sort of just randomly, when he says release at the end, he says to release them. Does that mean they cease to be Moon Knight at the end? Does he not have the powers anymore?
I think so, but you think about it.
Did you not see the post-credit scene?
Oh my god, I missed the post-credit scene.
Kind of answers that. You idiot!
This is Marvel, dude.
No way. It's Marvel, and I didn't even. Yeah, you're right. Why the fuck did I not watch it? You can tell me what it is. I'll watch it after. No.
We'll pause the podcast. You go and watch it 5 minutes and come back to us.
Honestly, I can't believe you.
All right, okay. I'm gonna do it. Right, I'm gonna go and watch it now. So, right, you guys have a chat for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Ricky Harriman. I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I did that. I knew that would be a thing. Well, I'm a fucking idiot. All right, I'm gonna be back. 1 minute. Give me 5 minutes.
We're actually sending someone to go and watch something so we can actually talk about it. It's just
this is how professional we are, because we have sent Matt away to go and watch something that he has not fully watched. So there's going to be about 5 minutes, not that long to be fair, because it's a moderately short scene, but he needs to watch it because he's been a bit of an idiot. So,
and while Matt's not here, let's talk about all the cameos in Multiverse of Madness. No, we're not doing that.
No, we can't do that. No, I think the cameos were done really well. I think they were done.
I enjoyed them.
They're not done excessively, and I think they're very nice. Some I suspected, some I thoroughly expected. Bruce Campbell, and some really surprised me. And but with hindsight, went, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I know, obviously, we're trying to do this as roundabout way as we can, but one cameo being reprised by a certain actor who didn't have a fair shot at his first opportunity playing this person, I think really redeemed it, and probably was, in hindsight, one of the more gruesome elements when certain thing happened to this person. Yeah. It's really hard not to talk about it, but
I know. There is. It was nice to do, and I think it had to be done in such a way that the focus remained on Wanda and Doctor Strange, and because if these cameos had been any longer, it would have distracted from this ongoing narrative, and Raimi, I feel, was very much aware of that. One thing I wanted to mention as well is, in the first Doctor Strange film, the presentation of his magic and the way his reality bending is portrayed quite differently here. You think about it,
Joe, I was thinking about that.
With the first film,
I think Doctor Strange is still learning his capabilities. I think he's still obviously understanding. Whereas in this second film, you've got to think you've had all the Avengers movies, you've had Spider-Man. He's had time to hone his skills. He's been able to, I guess, in a way, transcend what the followers of Kamatage had been able to do beforehand. That's my thought.
I think, and also my theory understanding is more from a directorial element and like production element. Is basically you got two very different directors presenting their vision and also their own directorial style. I mean, in the first one they had kind of these massive wide angle shots, and whilst but Sam Raimi doesn't do that. He does kind of these kind of very narrow in the face and like zooming straight in the face, so it's very tight in, and that kind of changes the nature of how they portray Doctor Strange's abilities. But I thought it was a lovely film.
Do you know, I still think, especially going into like the first 10-15 minutes, it just gets straight into the action. You know, there's no build up or anything like that. Just straight away, it's just like, yep, big action set piece. We calm down for a minute. Big action set piece. We calm down for a minute. Big action set piece. It's like
that's a thing. That means there's no ratcheting tension. It's like peak trough. It's not a roller coaster. It's like it is a roller coaster, to be fair. I mean, but like where before it's and then straight
like
down.
Every time you get a stop, it's like slowly going up, slowly going up, slowly going up, slowly going up, slowly going up. Oh, it starts again. It was kind of Joe. Do you know, it's so difficult to talk about this without actually saying anything major from this movie. But I understand.
I mean, I have to keep on.
Oh, yeah, cool.
My daughter, I saw it on Tuesday, and my daughter saw it yesterday, and I was having to basically keep like, no, I'm not going to say anything other than they do bring back all the Avengers in one film, and just looks at me and goes, no, don't. Yeah, you're right, they don't. But no,
Joe, this has got to be your little bit of payback, because I remember when you said about your daughter seeing Spider-Man before you saw it. So this has also been so sweet for you to go.
To be fair, they did not in any way spoil Spider-Man for me. So she was very, very understanding in that regards, and I've recently watched it, so that was quite cool. But so I thought, well, I'm not going to spoil it for her. But I was really pleased because I got to pick up one of these kind of Doctor Strange badges on the Tuesday when I went to see it. And just immediately, my daughter half-fished it, put it on a school blazer with the school going walking around a Doctor Strange logo on a blazer, which they're allowed to do, to be fair. And everyone's going, oh, I got Doctor Strange. Yeah, my dad's seen it. So,
do you know, it's not exactly. It goes not so much on the Doctor Strange thing, but recently I finished a newish game called Ghostwire Tokyo, and
holy shit,
there's a lot of like,
holy shit. Holy!
Can we just say, when you publish this podcast now, you've got to call it "Holy Shit Beans."
Holy shit beans! Oh my god! Why did I not do that? It's the biggest rookie mistake ever. Not they like right. Oh my god! What? Why did?
What was I right about that?
Matt, what was you saying earlier?
Right, because the thing is, right, that was, again, if you're watching this and you haven't seen Moon Knight, please stop listening. No, stop listening now. But at the start, right, I knew he had three personalities, obviously, because you knew that third personality was somewhere. You had the sarcophagus, which was locked. Yeah. You had the fact that he sort of obviously, what happened there. And there's obviously that other person that he's done it. And then obviously, so...
There's also a moment where Stephen says, Mark, did you do this? And Mark's going, no. What's going on here?
Yeah, so, I knew he was going to appear, but I thought they were going to leave that, not being a moron and not realizing, this is Marvel, there's always a scene. And then obviously having him there, because I was like, surely he would just have that third personality kill him. He fucking does. He fucking kills him. And but it's like Khonshu, I like the fact that Khonshu is a bit of a shithead, and like, he's not, I like gods that have ulterior motives and things. I like
it's not so much an ulterior motive. Basically, he's a god. He does not care about the morons and the little people.
Yeah. So okay, that was good. And I'm so annoyed at myself that I didn't sort of why. It's like it ended. I watched it knowing having watched every single credit scene in a Marvel film ever, having stayed to the very bitter end, all of them. And for some reason, when I finished with Moon Knight, it came to the credits and I went, okay, job done, and just walked off. I think it was because it was a series. I just obviously switched off my Marvel brain. But but that was because I thought they might sort of kind of tie him in.
No, so what they have done is essentially, yes, Khonshu has essentially let go Mark and Stephen, just not the other one.
Right, okay.
He hasn't said, yeah, fine, you are free to do whatever you want. You, on the other hand, you're still with me. Yep, no problem.
Yeah, okay, that's good. You know what? I think I liked Steve. I liked the way I liked that interaction with the two different parts of them and stuff. And I think credit to Oscar Isaac to pulling off 2 and 3 completely different characters convincingly. Yeah. And I just sort of like, and I think he got a lot of grief for his accent, and I quite liked it. I thought it worked quite well. I thought he got the mannerisms down quite well. It grew. Yeah. I think what the accent for me is, when you think about it a lot more, the accent was not natural because there was part of this personality that Mark created. Stephen Grant was based on this kind, and it's based like this kind of film which had an equally, fake accent. So basically, it would be natural for a created personality inspired by a film to have an equally fake accent. So when you think about that, it was like, well, yeah, he would, because he's based his entire Stephen Grant personality on Dr. Stephen Grant Adventurer, so which has this kind of very false English accent. So when you look at it that way, it's like, yeah, okay, it makes sense, really. Yeah. And I love the way, kind of even just down to the posture. Mark was kind of very stood upright, very powerful, direct, looked straight away, whilst Steve was kind of hunched over, like almost hunched inwards and very nervous and just stammered slightly. And yeah, it was just, beautiful portrayal, completely 2 different contrasting characters. And the fact that Oscar Isaac can just snap between the 2 of them in an instant is amazing. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed all the rest, but because it was something different and it was something I didn't really know a lot about. Bar, there was a cosplayer I follow and stuff, and he always played Moon Knight, and I was like, who is Moon Knight and stuff, and I thought it was a good change up for things, and it's sort of like, he is like a more brutal Batman in a way, in a sort of kind of schizophrenic sort of. But I suppose he's not, because he's got powers and stuff. Though that being said, I'm not sure if he has powers in the comic books. It's sort of he does. Yes, it's a fairly good adaptation of Moon Knight comics. I have read some of them. Mostly enjoyed them. It's been really good. Again, there's the Mark, the Stephen, and the other personality all there in this one person's head. And again, like the 2 different costumes, you had Mr. Knight and Moon Knight. Yeah. And those are, from the comics themselves. And again, it's a fairly decent representation of the character, to be fair. And yeah, I enjoyed it. It's really good. I like the fact when Stephen becomes Mr. Knight. Yeah, and he's just exuberant to the character. Oh, look what I did! It's like it's just happiness. Yeah, I like it. It's really good, and it's really good that he has this sort of kind of range that he can do these different characters. And it just, there was somebody put on, he should have done. Have you heard him do? I think it was Jimmy Kimmel, or was it Jimmy Kimmel, or was it Jimmy Fallon? He does the hippopotamus song. Have you heard his hippopotamus song? No. Right. So go to Google, right? And it's a proper sort of earworm. So he does a song on Jimmy Fallon called the Hippopotamus Song. So Google it if you got it now. You're listening now. Type in Oscar Isaac's Hippopotamus Song, right? And he does it, and it's basically a song that he sings and plays guitar to his kid, and it's so cool because it's like hip hip hippopotamus, and it's just like it's so good, and I don't do it justice in any way, shape, or form. It's like, but it's so good. It's well written. It's quite catchy and stuff. And it was just like he should have had that as the song at the end whenever they bumped into the what's the name of the god, the hippopotamus god.
Hamatet.
Yeah, something like that. So that should have been that, hippopotamus, and it's so good. Just Google it on YouTube. Go on YouTube, type in hippopotamus song, Oscar Isaac. It's so good. Very good.
Yeah. Turret. Yeah, I really loved Turret. She was just a fantastic character, and I just loved the sheer exuberance in the character. There's like the glee to her. And I mean, there's these little moments where, like, when she first introduced him, and she's got these these little cars, she's skimming through them and scattering them on the floor.
Yeah.
And that was just so nice to look, because we've all been in situations where we're trying to frantically remember something, how to do something, and they've got, where's it? Where's it?
Yeah.
And the fact you've got a god doing that was just brilliant, because it's just a human and relatable element, and there's such a lovely person.
Talking about series and stuff, have you watched the last series of Picard, the last episode that happened on Friday?
I've watched all but the last
Not
episode.
Yet,
no. Okay. It's so good. It's really good, and there's a bit in it where it's just like, oh my god, like it's quite emotional. It's quite the thing about Picard is, the first series took a while. It was a bit of a long burn, and it gets a lot better towards the end. So if I haven't watched Picard, the first 3 or 4 episodes is a bit like, I'm not sure, but it gets a lot better. Second season is really good, more along maybe a more of a gritty Next Generation episode and stuff. And the last episode was just, it was really good. And there's a couple of moments in it where you're just like, oh wow, and there's one moment and you're like going, oh my god. Yeah,
I must admit, I've watched them, but I think my wife Curly is enjoying them more than I am, because she enjoys not Jean-Luc Picard. She enjoys Patrick Stewart as Jean-Luc Picard. She thinks he's fantastic, and he is. I'm looking at him more from a writing element, and I'm just kind of cringing, because there seems to be a lot of instances where they just deliberately writing drama for the sake of it. Not just writing.
Would that be any different than the Next Generation? Would you call?
Okay, no. Very first episode, the second season, they told us, right, we are going back in time. No matter what you do, remember the butterfly effect. Do not cause any ripples in time. Okay, gotcha. So what does Rios do? Hi, I'm a captain from the 300 years in the future, and I pilot a starship. and he's telling people this all through, like, the
thing is with time travel though, man, as soon as you go down that time travel thing, there's nothing.
Yes, I get that. There's some unavoidable ripples, but the fact you are telling border control police that, yes, I'm a starship captain, no, just bullshit them, just come up with something, but not just tell them the truth. And it does the point where, yes, this other person and this child, come and see my starship.
Yeah, it's good because it's a full circle. The way it works, and you'll sort of see it when you see the last episode, there's a full circle around to it and stuff, and it all sort of kind of clicks together. And it's really good. The cue's great in it. The whole thing is just sort of, there's a really touching moment. It just sort of. Yeah, I liked it. Apparently, the third, and I like the fact who's the guy who plays Data, the actor who plays Data.
Brent Spiner.
Yeah, him playing Dr. Sung. The old as a
but not Noonin Sung.
Adam
Sung.
Yeah, as sort of one of the ancestors and stuff, but as I like that sort of very evil sort of lore type thing, where he's just sort of like, he's got really good range as well. I think he always did when he was playing the different sort of different Datas effectively. But apparently the series 3, it's going to have all of the old TNG crew back again.
And they've also said that season 3 will be the final season. So it's good that they've got a game plan
Yeah.
before they even get into it. Know that they have got the end.
My other issue with this season, and Matt's going to shout at me again, so I apologise, is at one point, Dr. Giuliani has to
spoilers. Anybody who hasn't watched that,
open herself up.
Wait. Spoiler: okay. Is anybody who hasn't watched Picard? Stop listening now.
Okay. Opens herself up to emerging with the Borg Queen. Fine. Okay, she is the most technically minded and has studied Borg technology. She's a perfect person, right? And towards the end, you kind of reveal that she and the Borg Queen are fighting for control of Durant's body.
Yeah.
Yep. Then just literally before the Queen has actually managed to gain control of Durant's got the information she wanted, and hey, the win, no problem. Then Picard has to go, oh no, we've got a mission, I've got to go and help them. You stay here and look after the Queen. Hang on, you are leaving the one person who has not been once already kind of mind controlled by Vulcans, and has also been nearly mind controlled by the Borg. You're going to leave her in possession of the very person that nearly mind controlled her. That seems like a bad idea. And they just didn't kind of. They just felt like.
I think you're being overly picky. Bear in mind, you could throw.
I'm not being overly picky because exactly my wife and I, Michaela and I, said exactly the same thing. No, I wouldn't do that. Really, that's a bad idea.
I know, but I think the thing is, you're thinking because it's slightly more gritty and more real. It's but it's still Next Generation. And you think about all of the stuff that you could rip to shreds in the Next Generation, but you still enjoy it because it's cheesy, it's completely off cuff. It's sort of you got Moriarty. They've got a Moriarty. They've got that whole episode dedicated to Sherlock Holmes, Next Generation and stuff. It was silly stuff. It's just there's a bit there's a bit in it where there's a version of Deanna Troi who's cake. And Data eats her with a bit of a knife and stuff.
Well, they've actually done acid in that episode, won't they? I absolutely agree. It's gritty, but there were a few moments which genuinely shocked me because it just felt out of character for them. When you hear Picard swear,
he doesn't swear very often though, but it's good to sort of have that edge to him.
But it's already been established that Picard is a very refined man. He's someone who's very much in control. Even when he confronted the Borg in First Contact, he never once swore. There was rage, there was righteous fury, and for one, you never doubted for one instance that Picard was on a massive bloodless killing spree for the Borg, but he never once swore.
Yeah, well, maybe he wanted to. So it's like my mother. My mother's from Oxford, and she's very posh, and she never used to swear at all. And then one Christmas, my sister and my brother got her drunk and made her swear. And now she sort of drops in a swear word now and again, just sort of for laughs and stuff. It's just like when you get older, maybe you throw in an F-bomb or something like that now and again. It's just it's not out of character. It's an evolution of a person's personality.
But it just felt, but there was no build-up. You've gone from TNG to Picard, and we didn't see that kind of evolution. So when we saw it in person in Picard, it was. I know, but
how many years has it been? Sort of when did the Next Generation end? 94?
No, but there's been the films.
Yeah, no, sorry, yeah.
Jon Jo, you're twisted for 90 degrees, dude.
You're not.
Thank you. Yeah, it's.
Yeah. Sorry.
When was the last film? When was Nemesis? Was it Nemesis?
I think it was the early 2000s.
That was 2002.
So about 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
So
I just remember Tom Hardy in that film. Jesus Christ.
There's loads of cameos. Oh, yeah. There's loads of little cameos. It's like Band of Brothers. If you look at Band of Brothers, have you ever watched the Band of Brothers series? The amount of cameos and stuff, he's in that as well. Sam Pegg's in it.
I think that's 2002 as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Feeling old.
Yeah. What a series that is. Yeah, but I thought Picard, I really enjoyed it. You know, I like I said, the first series I wasn't really that into, and I had it on the background because I was sort of making some models and I had nothing better on, so I just went, yeah, I'll have it on. And then I slowly started getting into it, and then you know, it's a slow burn. It gets a lot better, and then the second season is more like a Next Generation episode, just prolonged. It's a bit it's a bit sort of strange and sort of like, but it's got that whole sort of kind of, you know, drama that you have in a Next Generation episode, just sort of slightly more gritty and more long. And it's, you know, just having Q back was good, and you know the sort of past Guinan, and you know, and
I did think Guinan was just done brilliantly. I really liked her character.
yeah. So it's, you know, I enjoyed it and stuff. The character, what was it? She played the Data's daughter, and she's obviously,
Oh yes, yes. She was a daughter of Adam. Well, the not daughter.
creation
Creation of
yeah.
Adam's son.
Yeah. So I kind of made me feel like it was just that kind of feels slightly shoehorned in because they wanted to keep her in this series and stuff, because it's like, what other than there's stuff that you know, yeah, I can't, you know, because it ruined the last episode and stuff, but it does feel slightly shoehorned in, though I guess, you know, what happens and then could sort of move on to things, but it'll be interesting. There's a bit in it in the last episode and stuff where I think it'd be interesting if that happens, if that carries over to series 3 or not.
Do we find out why the Watcher is, you know, it basically looks exactly like Picard's Romulan house sitters slaves?
No, it doesn't sort of.
Which that's all. I mean, apparently the producers really liked the actress and her role. Thought, yeah, well, we've always got, you know, a nice dynamic with Patrick Stewart, so let's keep her in and give this a role. But they've actually addressed why the characters look exactly alike, which feels.
She's Romulan in the series. She's Romulan as well as to being the Watcher, and I guess it could just be an ancestral thing. The argument would be ancestral of some sort, but you know, there's no sort of, other than looking like her, there's no connection, I don't think.
Yeah. But again, and actually Picard said, "Oh, you look exactly like me." Well, yes. Why? What's going on?
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's just like a bit like, yeah. I can see why the producers did do that. I mean, she's a great actress, has a great energy on screen, and kind of the way she interacts with Patrick Stewart is just fantastic. But it just felt really odd having these two characters played by the same person, without ever adequately explaining why, at least in the mythos of the show.
Right. Anyway, okay, Jon Jo, you wanted to talk about Doctor Who, and me and Pete are going to completely zone out because we have don't know anything about Doctor Who.
But it's gonna be like you going to watch Moon Knight again.
Yeah.
So for some random reason, at 12:30 this afternoon, the BBC decided to announce the casting for Jodie Whittaker's replacement on Doctor Who. And it is a relatively young, I guess you could say, kind of unknown, because he's not too prominent in terms of the acting well compared to some of the other previous Who's. But we have Ncuti Gatwa, who is the new Doctor Who. Now this is really one that we should have had Mark on, because this guy's already appeared in one of Mark's other favourite shows, Sex Education. I've watched a couple of episodes, but I'm not as well versed on it. I remember
you to mention it. Who is he in Sex Education?
Joe, that's as much as I've only watched that a couple of episodes. I can't remember the guy's name. I can't remember his character's name. But from what I can see, I think he's a good casting. He seems very bright. He seems very energetic for the part. Obviously, he's got Russell T Davies' approval because he cast him. I am for one excited to see where this character, like where his version of the Doctor is going to go, because I I'm under the opinion that I wait until the final product's on the screen. You never judge someone until you see their performance. It's the same as when Matt Smith took over David Tennant, because everyone was going, "Oh no, without David Tennant, the show's going to suffer. It's just going to get really bad." Personally, I think Matt Smith was better than David Tennant. Shoot me if you don't like that. That's my opinion. But Matt Smith, I think, was fantastic because he just embodied Doctor Who. He just went weird. He went serious. He went angry. He went scary. He went crazy. He just was basically what David Tennant couldn't do. David Tennant could do angry, yes, but that was sort of it. He could do these flashes of emotion, and that was it. Whereas Matt Smith, he could hold you for a whole episode. He was able to just pull the intensity.
Is he your
and I'm
favorite
hoping
Doctor?
that Shooty's going to do the same. Do you know what? I would have said he was, but then Peter Capaldi came onto the scene. Personally, Peter Capaldi is my favourite Doctor.
Okay, interesting.
And I yeah, but with Shooty taking over the role, I really am looking forward to hopefully seeing an actor who's not being cast, because a lot of people, because you know the internet exists, a lot of people going, "Oh, it's all stunt casting," you know, they're casting the Black Doctor. I went, no one fucking cares what you think, mate. They're casting someone because this is the right person for the job, not because of the colour of their skin, not because of any other thing that you may think it is. This has been done because loads of people auditioned. This is the person that was the best part, the best fit for this role. That's how the TV film industry works. They go for the best person. They don't go for what they think's. Well, I actually have to say a lie. Some of them might. Go
I was
going to
say, are you sure? Yeah, some of them do. Yeah, we can make some money out of this.
I mean, I've said before, I wouldn't have picked Russell T Davies to come back as showrunner. He had a very good run, but over time, I've kind of thought about it, and I thought, okay, maybe he can, take it in a new direction. Maybe he can do something that he couldn't have done before. And I think, he's willing to take this journey on. He's bringing someone with him who, may not have as much experience as compared to some of these people that have taken on the lead role. I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it because we've got one more episode with Jodie Whittaker, which is going to be in October, I believe. And then Shooty's going to be having his first full episode, which will either be the New Year's special, or if they decide to bring it back to Christmas. I kind of miss Christmas Doctor Who. That was like the one thing that I could say for an hour in the evening to my partner. Right, you go and watch what you want now. I've got the TV. I'm putting Doctor Who on. That's the only hour of TV I ask for on Christmas Day.
It's weird.
And then obviously when that got taken away, I just had to watch Cold with Wife.
So many people into Doctor Who, and I kind of wish I liked it, but I just can't. I can't get into it. It's like I've sat and I've watched episodes, and it just doesn't. I just don't understand. It doesn't. There's no sort of click with me and stuff. I find it slightly kitsch and sort of a bit over. I know I watch over the top stuff all the time, but it just seems a bit. I don't know what it is about it, and it does nothing for me. Like, that being said, there are. I'm one of these guys who likes the really poignant moments and things, but I quite like the poignant moments that they have in. So I'll watch like. He was one of the sidekicks. He was in, like, I think he used to be on the Carry On films or something. He was the dad of one of the. He was the dad of ginger-haired comedian woman. What's her name? He was a sidekick.
Oh, you talk about Cribbins.
Yeah, and his sort of his sacrifice and stuff like that. And I saw the whole thing about him where he sort of was he the father? But whatever, he was
the grandfather of Catherine Tate.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. So and that sort of thing, those little poignant moments, and again with sacrifice, I like that sort of thing. And obviously where Van Gogh, the Van Gogh thing, and
that was a good episode.
Yeah, and sort of like things that I like that, but as a series, it's just never been anything I just haven't cared about it, and I've just not been able to get into it. I don't know what it is. It just, I watched oh fuck, I'm really bad with names. Sylvester McCoy's Doctor, when I was younger, because that was, when I was growing up, and I watched it and I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was quite dark, and like I've got some very sort of dark memories of the sort of kind of that one. But as I started watching it when Christopher Eccles sort of started doing his, and it just didn't really do much for me, and since then I dabbed in and out, and I'm just like, I can't seem to sort of get into it, and it annoys me slightly because I feel like I should be able to, but I can't.
Well, I mean, the Sylvester McCoy Doctor Who's were totally quite different to the rest of Doctor Who at that time. They were, quite dark, and narratives explored much more mature themes than previous iterations of Doctor Who. And then we had that 20-year gap. And I kind of watched the first few episodes of the this new Doctor Who. Was it David Tennant? Not David. Was it David Tennant?
No, Christopher Eccles was the first one.
Okay, yeah, I watched that one vaguely. Then it was David Tennant.
Sorry, say it again.
I watched that. So
who was it?
It was Christopher Eccleston. That kind of sort of TV movie thing. And then with
that's Paul McGann, the TV.
Oh, Paul McGann. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, then it was Christopher Eccleston. Yeah. And I watched that kind of the first few episodes, and I never watched it again. Basically because, Doctor Who is essentially the TARDIS is a magic doorway. It goes to anywhere, anywhen. And the writers of that first episode decided they could set it anywhere they wanted, literally, and set it in modern day London, which felt like a massive, your first episode is the statement of intent for where you see the show going. And all you did was base it in London, in modern day London. I thought, well, that's just a massive loss of potential. I get you had to kind of get the companions to join, but then you've seen other episodes, like other seasons, other Doctor Who. Ace, for example, was from contemporary UK, but she just happened to blast herself there by using by Ice 9 explosives. Completely not try blowing yourself up to go through time. It does not work. But you still had that character, and that first episode was Pleasure Towers, I think, and it was like this far future roboticized hotel. But when this new Who was just set in one day London, I thought, no. And there's so much good stuff on at the moment. It just felt a massive loss of potential, so I just didn't bother with it ever since. And I know friends that said, "Oh, it's got much better since then," but it's not grabbed me. Sorry, Jon Jo.
Yeah, I think that was very much a mandate of the BBC, because bringing back Doctor Who, there was so much red tape. There was so much that Russell T Davies was sort of having to bow down to. Because in the original plans, there was no Daleks because was it Terry Nation? His estate did not want Daleks to be involved originally. There was no alien worlds at all in the first series because they wanted to set the tone before they decided to venture further on. Because, for a sci-fi show all about time and space, sticking around one planet was obviously the smartest idea. And then with that, they were told they could only have so many of the classic Doctor Who monsters in their first series. They were allowed to have, I believe they said they could have 2. That was it. And obviously the Daleks was the one that they pushed for the most. And then the other one, which appeared in the very first episode, they had the Autons. And, that was pretty much it. And I think there were some other stipulations as well. They had to have no classic companions, because they said they didn't want to start tying into the previous series until it obviously got established. And I feel that what they had to work with, yes, there was a lot of constraints. There was a lot of things that really went against it. But from that point, series 2 onwards, they started going to alien worlds. They brought back Sarah Jane Smith and K9, which was fantastic to see on the screen. They actually started building up the like all the themes that would go forward, not just for one series, but would go forward for a great number of years. And, you know, Doctor Who became exciting again. The problem now is the BBC mandate sort of took over again. Going into Chibnall's era, they basically, same thing to him. They basically said to him, look, you can have the reins, but because you're not a Stephen Moffat or a Russell T Davies, we're going to give you some boundaries. And even though it said that the first series, like his first full series, he said, oh yeah, we chose not to have any classic monsters. That is not true at all. That was a BBC mandate again, from what I've heard. So they basically were trying to go, well, look, we can further this franchise without relying on Daleks and Cybermen. We don't have to bring back the Master. You know, we've got our central character. You've got your blue box TARDIS. What else do you need? And this is why I think Doctor Who has really suffered again. And I think this is why they brought back Russell T Davies. So gone, oh, we fucked up. Yep, we need to now get this ship going back again, because Doctor Who does so well for the BBC, does so well, you know, because it is a flagship show. It goes to millions of people around the world. They need to, I think they need to reclaim a lot of ground that's been lost. So, fingers crossed.
It has to. You have to say it is a big success story for them, considering when the Ecclestons when did that come out? Early 2000s.
2005.
2005.
Yeah.
So, you know, so what? 17 years.
And Joe, I actually remember the day. Yeah, 26th of March 2005 was the date of the first episode.
Yeah, so
the revived era, obviously.
Yeah, so 17 years after a break of what? How many years?
About 20 years.
Yeah.
16. Yeah, 1989 was the last episode. Yeah, 1996 was the Paul McGann movie, and then 2005 was the first series of the revived era.
Yeah.
When you write pub quizzes, you learn this shit. That's it.
Club quizzes, yeah. And that segue, that takes us nicely into our new section of the podcast. For all of you who are new to this, basically, we've ripped off a wrestling podcast.
Inspired by.
They comment on our TikToks and stuff, so they know that I've been inspired by them. It's straight shoot podcast, which is like a wrestling podcast. Might see if I can try and get them on here. Actually, it might be a laugh, but So basically, what happens is instead of it being a wrestling based one, it's going to be a geek franchise based guessing sort of game. You've basically got to tell the person what franchise it is, so Star Wars, Marvel, The Expanse is generally where Pete goes to, Doctor Who, whatever, and then we have got 60 seconds to ask questions to guess the person, and then at the end we've got one more question we can ask, and then a guess, and then that is it. So I will go first with my one. And then we will move on to you gentlemen. I might even throw in a fourth one just so I have some TikTok material. But let's do this. So stopwatch. Right. Okay. It's Star Wars. Star Wars is 60 seconds. Go.
Male or female?
Okay.
Male.
Human?
No.
Alien?
Yes.
Okay. Are they in Guardians of the Galaxy?
Star Wars.
Oh.
Oh, Pete. Oh, Pete.
Do they appear in the original trilogy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Are they Return of the Jedi?
They're in the first Star Wars film.
They're not in the first Star Wars film. They are in Return of the Jedi.
Okay. Are they Rebels?
No.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Are they?
Did they appear in Empire Strikes Back?
Are they in Empire Strikes Back? No, they're not.
All right, that's my guess.
Okay. Okay.
Last
so are
question.
the
Wait,
Imperials?
before you correct. So last question, and then a guess.
Are the Imperials?
No.
Is the character you're thinking of short?
No.
Bollocks, that's my guess gone again.
Is it Jabba the Hutt?
No. But I'll give you a clue. He is close to Jabba the Hutt.
Twi'lek. Is it Twi'lek?
It's
He is a Twi'lek.
I can't think of his name. His name's gone out of my head. His name's gone out of my head.
You know who I'm talking about. Bib Fortuna.
Yeah.
Bib Fortuna.
Fortuna, that's it.
Bib
I
Fortuna.
was thinking Biz. It's not Biz.
Yeah,
Man.
Bib Fortuna. He was in. He was also in Book of Boba Fett as well.
Yeah.
Briefly.
Was.
Mandalorian.
No, he was in Mandalorian.
Yeah, Mandalorian. He was in the Mandalorian. But yeah, so Bib Fortuna is basically right hand Twi'lek. Basically, there you go.
That was
not in Guardians of the Galaxy, Pete.
That was good.
You never know.
Is he in Guardians of the Galaxy? No.
They're owned by the same. Disney owns both of them. Just saying, there's going to be a crossover soon.
Right. Okay. So that's that one. There you go. We had some guesses by Mr. Wilson. Guido. It would have been quite a good one, actually. Right. So, Pete. What franchise are we going for?
Well, I was going to do Star Wars, and then you went and did Star Wars.
You can do Star Wars again if you want. That's up to you.
No, that's too much. I'm going to go with Aliens.
Okay, so Aliens. 60 seconds. Go. Okay. Marine Corps.
Male or female?
Pardon? Whoa.
Is in the Marine? Are they in the Marine Corps?
No.
Male or female?
Male. Or
Male.
Female?
Part of the Whaling Corporation.
No.
Male? Not.
Are they in the first Alien?
Yes.
Are they the captain of the ship? They are. Oh, what's his name? What's his name?
See, this is the problem now. You get so far, you've got to remember him now.
What's his name?
God. I only watched this a little while ago as well.
He's got a beard. Oh God.
I hate this game.
I'm gonna have to Google it.
Oh, I can't remember it. I hate myself as well.
Dallas.
Alien's one of my favourite movies.
Dallas. That's it. Nostromo. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Yes. All right. There you go. Nice one.
That first Alien film is one of my favourite films of all time, and I can't believe his name went out of my mind.
I realised my error when I said Aliens because everyone immediately just focuses on the Aliens film rather than looking at the entire Aliens franchise. Which could also potentially include Predator as well if you want to include AVP.
Yeah, that's true. There's loads of stuff you could do for these. There's an endless amount of characters you can have. Okay, Jon Jo, what's your franchise? What are you going for?
I did have one in mind, but I changed my mind at the last second. I'm going to go for a Marvel one.
Okay. Right. So Marvel, 60 seconds.
Let's do this.
Go.
Human or alien?
Human. Sorry, Matt, what was your one?
Part of the Avengers?
No.
Good or evil?
Evil.
Are they in the films, the MCU?
They are, yes.
Do they have a film of their own?
They're not a title character of a film, no.
They are. They're in a film. They're just not a title.
Are they a
film.
recurring character?
Yeah. No, only one appearance from this person.
Okay.
Or is this person? So they're not in any other films than any other guys. As another. So
no, just this one film. As this one person.
Okay. Okay, one of the good guys, right.
No, he's not good. Last
are they
question,
the-
and it's a bad guy. He's a bad
Is it
guy.
the Spider-Man films?
Not in the Spider-Man films, no.
Okay.
Okay, so Marvel, bad guy, he's in one. He's a bad guy in one film.
Yep.
And that's it.
Is it Captain America films?
You've had your question, Peach.
Not in the Captain America films.
Okay, we're gonna cheat slightly and go for the comments here on Facebook. Alistair says, "Is he an Iron Man 2?"
No, it's not an Iron Man 2.
Okay, so my question then is he in Thor? Is he in one of the 4 Thor films?
No.
Damn it.
He's not in any of the 4 films.
I'm going to go for a character who's only been in it once. It's going to be Killmonger. No?
No, I'm afraid that's wrong.
No. Pete, what's your guess?
Pete, are you going to have a guess?
No more questions. You can't have any more questions. You've got to the time's up.
Obadiah Stane.
Really?
He's got it. He's got it.
Oh my God!
Obadiah
Wow!
Stane
Where'd you get that from?
Justin.
Oh,
you're asking Pete on that one.
No. Sorry. We had this sort of thing of you kind of doing this, and there was no talking. So he got it right. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Nice one. Pulled it out of
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you know the only reason I thought of that? The only reason I thought of that because I just looked to the side and I could see because I watched it the other day. I've still got my copy of Iron Man 1 sitting by the TV. I was like, there we go. That's got to be it then. Yeah. Oh man.
All right.
Well done, Pete.
Oh, nice good one. Okay. Right. I need to have one more so I can have 4 videos to stick on TikTok and stuff like that. So I'll try and think of another
I've got one.
Okay.
I've got one.
Okay. Go on then, Pete. You got another one.
Star Wars.
Okay.
Star Wars.
Okay. So reset. So Star Wars again. 60 seconds. Go. Original trilogy.
Original trilogy.
Yeah.
Yes, original trilogy.
Empire Strikes Back.
All right.
Yes.
New Hope.
Nope.
Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
So he's in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Is he a bounty hunter?
Is this person a villain?
Awkward question.
Right. So he's in Empire Strikes Back, and is he Lando Calrissian?
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. And Alistair got it as well in the comments too. Lando Calrissian, 38 seconds, bitches.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping he's asking, is he Imperial? Well, no, he's not. Is he Rebel? Equally not.
Right, there you
go.
go.
Where he needs to go.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you go.
Wow.
Boom. Winner. We got some good. Pull those ones out of
Pete's
the bag.
today's champion.
Yeah, he is. He really is. Very good. And that bangs us on to 1
that was
hour and 30 minutes nearly exactly, which is very good timing for that. Yeah. Okay. Gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. I'm still ashamed of myself that I didn't watch the end credits scene to midnight. But I'm kind of glad because we got that little moment where Matt is completely like, oh my God. So yeah, all right. Awesome.
Yes.
I will be watching the
I
North.
hope you've learned a lesson now, Matt, as well.
What's that lesson?
Watch the end credits.
Don't ever go. A Marvel fan never leaves before the credits.
I know
have
this
rolled.
though. I know this. But the thing is, like, I have tutted at people. I've been that guy where people have got up out of a Marvel film to walk out, and I've gone, what are you doing? Call yourselves a Marvel fan? You're leaving before the end of a movie? And it's just sort of like, and I've gone and done it.
Saying that though, on Friday night when I was out with my mate, she was like, just as soon as the Doctor Strange had come to an end, she was like, oh, have we got to now sit here? I said, look, have I not taught you anything? You do not get up until that string goes off. You stay where you are. You do not move. And she has actually started appreciating that I do call her now my Padawan. even though it's completely different to Marvel. The term is sticking. But yeah, I had to say, look, I said, look, you're going to sit down for the next 10 minutes. You're going to enjoy a mid-credit and an end-credit scene. I said, we're going to take these in, and I'm going to quiz you on it later. That's what I do now.
So I've got Monday, me and my friend are going to watch The Northman, which is completely gone under the radar, but it's got loads of really good reviews. So
I've heard good things about that.
Yeah, I've heard really
I've
good
heard
things.
some good stuff about it.
Yeah, so I'm going to watch that tomorrow with my mate, and then Doctor Strange with some other mates on Tuesday. So lots to talk about. Do we have guests next Sunday? Do we have a guest?
Not yet, but I'll see what I can find.
Yeah. So we'll see what's going on. If we don't have any guests, then we can yabber on about that. But yes, thank you very much as always, those who've been watching, and Mr. Wilson, as always, I appreciate all the interactions. It's much appreciated. For myself, I have been Matt Geary, and with me tonight we've had Peter Ray Allison.
Good night, everyone.
And Jon Jo Cosgrove.
Take care, people. Have a good weekend. What's left of it.
Night.
Bye.